Hello there guys, and welcome back to our car modeling tutorial. And today we are going to be working on the Koenigsegg again. And I think in this episode what we'll do is we'll continue working along the back section here, which we started in the previous episode, and then maybe hopefully get a little bit of the side done as well, get a few details on here before we start to maybe finish off the scoop section on the rear. So in the last episode we started to have a little look at this section here. Now I've been looking at the reference images in between, and it seems that this is much more of a kick. So we can see inside here that we've got much more of a lip between the actual seam of the panels here and the start of this bumper. So what I'm going to do with these points is I'm just going to pull them out, and I'm going to just try and match a similar line to what we have over there, just to make sure that we're getting the correct amount of details in this section here. I'm going to need to open up the rear view, the back view inside here as well. And I think here we look okay, but I just want to pull this one out in this direction as well, just a little bit here and here, just to kind of help move that along a little bit. Everything else there is looking pretty good just now. So what we're going to do is we are going to work along the rest of this bumper here. Now we've got this huge exhaust system. Inside here we have these diffusers here as well. So we're going to hopefully get along the majority of this bumper here, and then maybe get this next slightly higher section put together as well, where we've got the ventilation here. So I think what we'll do here is we can see that we've got quite a smooth curve. Now in order to get this smooth curve here, I think what we'll do is we will just go from here, and we're going to hit Ctrl E in order to extrude this. And we're actually just going to go all the way to the middle. So we're going to grab all these points and go to the middle here. Now, I've explained before why I like to do this, but the main reason that I really like to do this is because we don't want to be moving and pulling each individual point to try and get what it is. We can go straight to the end point, we can add bits in between and just do some minor tweaks here and there without having to really do or edit the same points over and over again. So we can pull this all the way out here to see our finishing point, and then we can grab this point here and we can pull that out as well. Okay, so we can see now that we've got the rough kind of shape there. So if we was to add another line, we can just pull it out just to add a little bit more curvature. So what we'll do here is we will insert some edge loops, and I'm going to drop one in just at the top to meet this corner here, and I'm going to drop one in the same location on the opposite side, one at the top here, and then we'll go one for the exhaust. So that should be okay there. Now obviously adding those in is going to mean that we are practically straight on each of those. So what we'll do, it looks like, I think I might want to pull that out just a little bit here and here. Maybe do the same for each of these all the way along, just pull them out just a little bit. And here is where we're going to want to try and get a little bit of curve. So we're going to pull this point out like so. A little bit there, a little bit here. So I think by this point we want to be somewhat straight. So let's get all of these together. Maybe pull those out so we've got more of a straight line across there. And maybe this one here will pull in ever so slightly. So we've kind of got a bit of curvature along there following that line as we go. Now if we jump back into the rear view here, we're kind of going to want now to pull these points up to kind of match the curvature of those elements there. Yeah, maybe bring these here. So it looks like we could maybe benefit from having an additional line going across here to go across the top of the exhaust. Now before we do that, let's just check here, see that we're roughly in the right places that we need to be here. Maybe this one back slightly, like so. So we're looking like we're roughly in the right spots just there. I think here we do need to come back a touch. Just make sure it's still looking okay. So I think we will benefit from having an additional line inside here. Just make sure that step up here again, just a little bit more on some of these points. We'll go on that last one as well. Okay, so we've got a nice subtle curve inside there. And what we're going to want to do is we'll add another line inside here. So if we insert an edge loop, and we're going to do it so it's going to sit just on top of the exhaust system here. So we're going to go to our edge loop and we'll drop that in just there. And the only thing we're going to really want to do with this is just make sure that we're maintaining a curve here. So we can maybe pull this out just a little bit there. Maybe do the same. Maybe just grab all of these points and just slightly add a little bit of definition to those ones. And then on the side here, we'll just use this to help maintain some general curvature. Now, this area of the car is actually fairly flat, so we won't need to worry too much about that. But what we do want to worry about is ensuring that we maintain the curve here. So it could actually work out that that could be a point for the repeater there. Okay. That's not looking too bad. And if we jump back into our rear view here, there's potential here for us to take this all the way down to the bottom as well. So let's just make this a bit smaller, hitting the minus key, and then back up. Just going to pull this all the way down to the bottom, practically on the underside here. I'm just going to bring it back in. I'm just probably going to sit about there. Probably have to guess that a little bit. We can look at the reference images at a later date to see, make sure we're exactly where we want to be for that. I would say that would be a good shot there. Let's just see if we can see how far I'm there. So we can see that is fairly severe. Going through the underside. Yeah, so it looks here like it's on a similar kind of curve to what's already there. So we'll maybe go there. We'll insert an edge loop on here as well. Maybe go about halfway down, and we'll just add a little bit of curve there. So I'll bring it out just a little bit. And what I'm actually going to do with this is I'm not going to take it down as far as it appears. I'm going to bring it up so it's roughly in line with what's already there. Okay. And then if we go back into the rear view here, we can just pull on any points here that require us to kind of bring some curvature to this element here. Okay. And the only thing we'll do for this right now is we'll grab these interior edges here, and we'll just hit Ctrl E, so we'll extrude these in, and we'll just pull them straight in, so. And then what we'll do with these is we'll pull them in slightly, like so. Take all the top points here, pull those down, just to give it some decent visible depth. Pull these across here. Now we should get some idea of how far we need to go with this. So we can see that we need to come down considerably more on the top. So it can suggest we probably want to do the same straighter. Kind of suggests that we'll probably want to do the same on these lower parts as well. But again, we're probably not going to see too much of this because, as we can see, the diffuser is in the way a little bit there. Okay. I think what I'll actually do is, if we select all of these edges again, we'll just kind of scale them in so they kind of go to a straight up point here, and then we can just pull those in, something like that. Yeah. Maybe looks a little bit weird here, so I'll probably pull these in a little bit more. Like so. Okay, looks good. Okay, so we've got the lower section of that kind of laid out there. So what we'll do is we'll aim to get the higher section done as well. We'll aim to work up here. So we can see here that we've only got one edge in place, but we do actually require a little bit more information. So what we're going to do is insert an edge loop just now, and we're going to put this about halfway down. It'll run halfway until we get to that point, and then we can drop it down there. We'll see how that works out for us. If not, we can easily add in another one should we need to. No, what we'll do is we'll add in another one. So we'll drop one edge loop in here, and we'll add another edge loop in down here, which is going to facilitate that section there. So we kind of want to keep our base mesh fairly limited, but we don't want to skimp out completely as we build here. So let's get these into position. Now, this model differs a little bit from the Lamborghini because the Lamborghini has a whole lot of sharp edges. This kind of looks like more smooth and beveled edges. So what we're going to want to do when we're making these edges is we're going to want to work to the top part of that bevel, and then that beveled kind of edge, the rounded kind of edge, we can integrate in afterwards. So whenever we're making these points here, we want to work to the topmost part of the bevel there, which will allow us to do what we need to do now when it comes to smoothing. Now what we'll do is, because we've got the general shape pretty much nailed down the bottom here, we will use these edges and then extrude up. So we're going to take all of the edges here of this side. So we're going to take all the edges here. Let's make sure we're in the rear view as well. And what we're going to do here is we're going to hit Ctrl E. So I'm going to extrude these up. Again, we can hit the minus key and the plus key to alter the sizes there. What we'll do is we're just going to pull this straight up on the world view. And we can see straight away that we do want to come in a little bit with that. So pull that up and bring it in as well. So we can see by doing it this way, we are bringing up that whole section. So rather than extruding all the way around, we'd have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 adjustments. Whereas we've already got these all in place quite nicely, so there's no need for us to do more work than we have to. And we can see that this line here is already in more or less pretty much of a decent place for us. So what we could actually do here is we could, well, we won't even need to adjust that either. The reason we don't need to adjust that is because we want this curved edge, so if we just go up from here we should get that curve anyway. Now one adjustment we could make is we can kind of see that we've got a groove as such running down here. So what we could do with this point is here we could kind of bring these around and in line with that groove. So that means that we'll have something in line for that section to meet, and then we'll just make sure that we're not ended up creating a right angle here. So we can select these and maybe bring them in ever so slightly there. Okay, that looks good. Now what we'll want to do is we'll hit we'll hit V in there, and we'll merge these two together. So we'll snap that and merge, and we'll maybe pull this out slightly just to reflect that similar distance between the two. Okay, so that's looking pretty good at that section there. So what we're going to do is the exact same again. So we're going to go back into our rear view here. We're going to go for our edges, but this time we're going to select from this edge onwards. So we'll take all of these edges here. We're going to hit Ctrl E again. And it's probably a good shout that we added the additional one because we do have another angle here that we need to facilitate. So again, we can select our world option here. So we go down one just to make it a little bit easier. And we're just going to bring this up in the exact same fashion as we did. So maybe we'll go to around here. And again, we're going to want to make sure that we're kind of following the angle. So we can see that we've got that angle kind of defined here. So it may look like we do actually need to adjust what we've got here so we're not sat too steep. So we want to bring that in, and we're going to want to bring this in here. And again, we'll try and mirror that same angle there as well. So we can do the exact same here. Hold V, we can snap, and we are going to edit mesh and merge those together. And what I'm going to do here is we're just going to slowly arch up to there. So we're not going to go straight up and stop. So kind of curve up to it. You can bring this one across here. Bring it up just a little bit. Okay, that's looking pretty good. So what we want to kind of do is we can kind of see where that drops down just here. So it looks like we're sitting on that corner curve as we would want to. What we'll do here just a little bit is just bring that in just there. So what we're going to want to do now is we're going to want to go up and around the kind of ventilation section here. So what we'll do is we'll actually drag this edge up and around. So we're going to grab this bit here and like so. Okay, and we can bring that in here. Now what we're going to try and do is we may benefit actually from altering the geometry here slightly so that it's going to be going all around this part here, and then we can branch off from this. So that might be an actual better option for us to do. So let's just bring these vertices in place here. Okay, so if we look something like that, that will allow us then, if we bring this point up here, and then if we hit Ctrl E again, we can bring this point here into the center. And we can adjust those positions in a second. What we're actually going to want here is we're going to want to draw some lines in such a way that this is actually going to follow up and around here instead. So if we go across here, that should start us off. And if we delete this edge and this edge, we'll be able to drop a line in here, and we'll drop one in here. Okay. So what we'll actually want to do is take this one away. Actually, we'll take this one away, and we'll bring this one to here, and then we can bring this one up here. Okay, so what we're trying to do is, if we bring this one higher here, we're trying to make our geometry obviously as manageable as possible. So here I'm just trying to bring the curve down there. But we also want to pay attention to where each of our curves are going to go. So for example, when we're going around this edge here, we don't want to have to, when we come to smooth this, we're going to have to double up on geometry. Now if you followed along with the Lamborghini video, you'll understand that we need to double up on all the edges in order to make them nice and sharp. When we double up on this edge, what's going to happen is this is going to go down here, and we're going to want it just to follow this all the way around and along the bottom here. So if we have it so it's a case of that these lines fall off and go straight down the way rather than curving off around the corner, it means that our lines aren't going to go quite where we want them to. So by modeling this aspect like this, this is going to allow us to firstly get nice curved corners in here by using all of the additional points, but it also means that it's going to give us the perfect run around the corners when it comes to actually putting our model together. Now what we'll want to do is we want to make sure that everything, like I said before, is on the top of this bevel here. So we'll pull all these to the top point of this bevel as we go around. Okay. And now what we're going to want to do is add a little bit more geometry in here just to help this go around the corner here. Drop that there. So before we do that, we're going to go in our side view here and we're going to see now, after making all those additions, those little changes there, we're going to have a little bit of a bobbly section. So what we're going to want to do is go back inside here and we're going to want to just make sure that we're maintaining the correct curvature for these elements here. Now what we could actually do is, if we delete the lines and any additional vertices, this line here and the vertices associated, and we'll do the same here. So it's easiest to work with as minimal geometry as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to get these into the exact position that we need them to be. And what that will allow us to do is, I think what we want to do is, what that will allow us to do is get all of these in their required positions, and then it'll be far easier for us to adjust or add in the geometry, the additional geometry afterwards. Bring those in like so. This here needs to drop further back. And what we also want to do to maintain the geometry is we want to have the same distance here all the way down in order to ensure that that's practically a straight line. And then again, we'll want to do the same here. Just make sure the mesh is as tidy as possible. Now it looks like we might want to bring this down a little bit here. Okay, so it's going to allow us now to bring these points into position as well. And again, we're going to want to maintain a similar distance. So the same size between here and here. And then it looks like that needs to go a bit further out. We can bring that in just there. So we've deleted a lot of the information, and we can see now that we've got everything sitting roughly as we want them to. Let's just add a few little perspective changes here. Okay, so now that our line is in the correct place, all of these lines here are in the correct place, we've taken away a lot of the geometry so that we can see that. What we're going to do is add in the lines back, and this means that we don't have to fiddle around with all the movements as such, because we know that these are now roughly in the right place. So we can bring all these back in here. And what we can do to adjust these is we can have a go with changing some of our tool options inside here. So if we change this from world to component, this should allow us to move this around with the with the body panels in mind. So let's check out the rear view here, and let's see if this is going to help us out a little bit more than the world option. So we're going to want to try and maintain this curve. So if we pull on these arrows rather than the world option, it should, in theory, try to maintain the same kind of angle and shape. So we can pull these into position with these curves here, hopefully maintaining a lot of the shape and the angle there. We're going to want to insert some edge loops, but we're going to want to consider where everything's going to go here. So maybe we'll just add one edge loop here and one here to help maintain that corner. So again, we can grab the vertices here and we can have a go at pulling on the points and hoping that we're going to be getting a lot of help from Maya itself. So that's looking pretty good. Got a half decent curve going around there. So we can see now in the perspective view that going around there, that's looking a whole lot better than if we was to have done it on the world options. It's pretty good. Okay, so let's change this back to world. Okay, so it's looking pretty good on that back end section now. The only thing really is we can see that on here kind of want to be a little bit more curved, so we're going to add an edge loop. We'll drop one on down here and we'll pull that out just a little bit, and then we'll add another edge loop just a bit further down here. We'll do the same again, just to try and help keep that curve maintained. So we don't want that to actually go to too much of a point. So with that in mind, we'll maybe take that in a little bit as well. Okay, it's looking pretty good. I don't quite like how much these are kicking out just here, so we'll pull those in just a little bit. Okay, that's looking pretty good, quite happy with that. I think to add to this we only need to add one more. We'll need to add one more layer inside here. So I'll pull this up, and again, kind of aim to pull this. Looks like I'm missing one down there. So Control E, we'll pull this up here. Okay. So same as before, we'll hold down V and we'll snap up here. And we can merge those together. For now, we're just going to pull into position. Generally what I do when modeling is I will pull these apart afterwards. So we'll get a base mesh for the whole car laid out nicely, and then we'll go through and extract the individual panels. Okay, and then we'll pull this down slightly here. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Quite happy with that so far. So we've got that in there looking quite good. Maybe we could see about running down the side a little bit as well. So if we look down here, let's have a look to see. So we can maybe consider how we're actually going to move down this body here. It looks to me like, to make this easiest, we're going to want to insert another edge loop around here. We can use this edge loop here to help beef out this just a little bit. Okay. And what we'll probably want to do is on all of these higher points here, just want to probably make sure we're helping curve out a little bit there. This looks fine. So what we could maybe do here is grab let's see. So we may want to have another one here as well, because it looks like going down there is going to be a little bit tricky to help maintain. So we kind of just come off there quite a bit. So what we could try to do here is we could grab these first three edges here, pull all of these out, and we'll scale them off fairly straight. And what we'll aim to do is we'll aim to attach it to that vertex just now. Now we're not going to actually merge it. Let's make our way down the body here and see how this starts to look for us. So we want to kind of try and follow this line all the way down. Look up here, that's looking okay. And that's looking okay as well. Now, what we'll want to do is probably want to make sure we're not upsetting this angle too much, so we'll maybe curve around into this a little bit more. Like that. Okay, that looks good. And then we'll take each of these edges as well. We might as well go a little bit more with these. So hit Control E again. We'll pull these out probably just about to match what we've already got there. Now what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're working okay. So that looks fairly straight. Fairly straight. If we check our top view here. Now it looks to me that like that is our side skirt. So we're going to probably want to be working to this line here. So it looks like that's the side skirt. That's a kick out from the intake. And then this is the door here. So it looks like we're a little bit fatter back here. So we'll take that in to kind of match the line across here. So that looks pretty good. What we'll do with that is we'll grab this vertices. We'll merge this to the other because we know that the other one is sat roughly in the right place. Okay. And let's just make sure we're not curving away too weirdly here. So maybe bring it back in just a little bit. Okay. Okay, it's looking good. What we'll maybe do is we'll maybe go one more with it. So we'll grab all of these points. And we'll take this up again. And again, we'll want to check this against our top view. Just to make sure we're following that inner section. So coming in. Okay, looks good. And again, we can snap here. Now, I think we'll want to be making sure that we're running fairly smooth along here. So maybe take this away. Just slightly there. We're going to want to make sure we're kind of following the car's curve, so we don't want to be having these coming out completely straight. Take this down here. Take this across here. Now we've got a little lip here, so I believe what we'll want to do is we'll want this line here to kind of be the underside of this lip. So we're going to want this to pop up there. We can take this one all the way along like so. So I don't know if we want to be running quite that thin. Okay. Okay. That's pretty good. And what we'll maybe do with this one is let's put this back here. We kind of want to run on one side of these lines. We'll not with that just now. So that's looking okay just now. What we could maybe do is we'll maybe bring this line, so the very bottom edge here, you Control E there, we'll take this all the way to the other edge down here. Kind of have that drop behind, fine for now. Square that off just a little bit. Take that down. And it looks to me like this actually falls down behind this element, something like that. Okay, that's looking pretty good. So we've got quite a solid foundation here then, guys. Managed to work our way down the rear section, which is looking pretty good. Working our way down the side here. I think what we'll do in the next episode is we'll maybe continue working down this section here. I think this will be a decent bit to get finished, and then once we've done that, we'll probably get the difference between these two put together as well. Now this car seems to be going a lot quicker than the Lamborghini, so hopefully we'll get this done in less than 20 episodes, unlike the Lamborghini series. So far so good. Hope you're enjoying so far. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.